push further west. We're starting a little late this morning, also because I'm going to have a special guest on this morning. Yesterday was such a very interesting conversation, and I feel it's important to bring him on it. So at 6 o'clock, we'll start the show exactly at 6 o'clock, the way we did yesterday. But now we're going to bring in a guest today. Good morning, everybody. Okay, let's go. Maybe a little 6:05. All right, we'll give you time to get back into the rhythm of the show before we get back into where we start this. Good morning. Also, Kobe.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
We're gonna start a little later. About 15 minutes. We're gonna start this morning. I want to get back into the rhythm of the show. So the music, we want the music to pop a little bit. And I'm going to be sound checking with my guests this morning because I do think it's very important that we have this conversation. I got to do a couple of settings to make sure the phone works. Good morning, April. I got to do a little bit of settings to make sure it works. Yeah. There we go. All right, we're in on the phone. Okay, good. Good morning.
Yo, honey dip, summertime, fine, very dripping. Seen you on pickings with a bunch of chickens.
I got coffee this morning.
As we got close, she rock roast, honey throat smelling like impulse. Your whole shell
live from Palm Springs.
Caught me like a freshwater straw, or may I not be gone? Attitude is very rude, boo. Crabby like seafood. It turns me on like vines to your long root. They call me Starkey Love on deck. The strategy by any means. Shirley Temple Cross was done by Billy Jeans. Black Mrs. America, your name is Erica, right? True. Lazy apple, small piece, 6 shoe. Caramel complexion.
All right, we back. Let's go, y'all. Good morning, Cindy.
Turn around again. Goddamn, backyard's banging like a Benzie. If I was Jiggy, you'd be spotted like Spot McKenzie.
Good morning. Let's go. Let's get it popping this morning. Chair, let's go. Tuesday morning, grown folks. Let's grown folks music. Let's go, y'all. Come on.
Yeah.
Pump it up a little bit. Let's go. Get it popping in your headphones. Let's go, y'all. Good morning. Good morning, emails, all you males and females. I'm Chair. Let's go. Let's get it popping.
Yeah.
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 What you want? Yeah.
Now we're going. Let's go, y'all. Come on.
Yeah.
Good morning, Coco.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Coco Dreams. Let's go. Let's go.
Now, what y'all wanna do? Wanna be ballers, shot callers, brawlers, who be dipping in the bins with the spoilers. On the low from the Jake and the Taurus, trying to get my hands on some grants like Horace. Yeah, living the raw deal. 3-course meal, spaghetti, fettuccine, and grill. But still, everything's real in the field. And what you can't have
Happy
now,
birthday,
leave when you
Coco Dreams. Let's get it going this
Not
morning.
me for trying to bury 7 zeros over in Rio de Janeiro.
We don't cancel the music. We don't cancel the music. I don't care what it is. So they get money out of Trader's pocket.
As this man, I get more butt than ass trick. Yeah, I get mine the fat. Scheme in its way and the ransom notes. Far from handsome, but damn a nigga too. More guns than roses. Roses shaking in their boots.
Happy birthday, Coco Dreams.
Just a pair of vamoose, you whack me. Take them rhymes back to the factory. I see the gimmicks, the whack lyrics, the shit is depressing. Please forget it. You're mad cause my style you're admiring. Don't be mad, UPS is high. You should have been a cop. Hip hop.
Yeah.
That freestyle, you're bound to
Morning
get
emails, all emails.
not
emails.
from you, yeah. But I rap a lot. I got a lot.
A lot.
Plays about to drop.
Let's get it going this morning. Grown folks, it's Tuesday morning. On my way to LA, by the way.
Yo, drop your glasses, shake it, face screwed up like you having hot flashes. Which one? Pick one. This
Let's
one
get it rolling
plastic.
this morning. Let's go, y'all. Hey, pop it off. Let's go. We're running a little bit tight on time today, but let the music rock a little more.
Yo, drop your glasses.
AKA, what up, baby? Good morning, good morning.
Like you having hot flashes.
Grandson of the
Which one?
Minister
Pick
Father
one.
Muhammad.
This one plastic.
Yes, we know. We
Red
remember
one
you,
blind,
bro.
yeah.
Salute to you. Let's go.
Plastic. Why this? Why that? Lips stop asking. Listen to me, baby. Relax and start passing. Breathway, head back, weaving through the traffic. This one strong should be labeled as a hazard. Some of y'all top sight, I'm gassing. Clowns, I spot them and I can't
All right,
stop
Coco, I'm gonna
laughing.
try.
Easy come, easy go.
And I
Easy
think I
going,
may have
blasting.
fixed the
Jealousy,
issue.
let it go. Results could be tragic. Some of y'all ain't writing well, too concerned with fashion. None of you
Hey,
went
hey,
Griselle, kept
hey,
walking
hey,
magic.
Angeline
A lot of
Daver,
y'all Hollywood
good morning.
drama, cast it, cut the camera off real
Yo,
quick.
for those that don't know, Toby Hicks has been in the hospital, and he had gotten an operation. I didn't say anything until after the operation was over. My prayers go out to Toby Hicks, one of my morning yearnings, but he is recovering. So Toby, if you feel good this morning, make sure you come in and have a conversation about what's happening with you this morning. Now hold on. So I'm gonna do a sound check this morning because I have a guest coming in this morning. We're gonna get back to this conversation we had yesterday, but we're gonna put a cap on it. It was so, and I want to put a perspective on the conversation yesterday because it got so heated that people were getting at me, from even entertainment people were getting at me, not getting at me, but having conversations with me about it. And I was like, yeah, it's heated, but I mean, what do you want me to do? Things happen. Let's go, y'all. Come on.
No seasoning. Pick up my phone, say pop a lot. Sex all night, bad hand in the morning. Spin my weed, smoke on my weed. You on TT, saying B.I.G. Now check it. You wanna be my man squeeze, baby.
Baby.
You wanna give me what I need, baby.
Baby. Y'all just cut me some slack this morning because I'm starting a little late, so I'm gonna need a few more minutes with the music. Yeah. Let's go, y'all. Come on. Up here. Come on.
You wanna sit more on my living room
Flow.
Playing Nintendo, it's
Knees and knee, yo.
Pick up my phone, say pop a
Not home. Night. In the phone. Come on.
Spin my weed, smoke on my weed. You on TT, saying B.I.G. Now check it. You wanna be my man squeeze, baby. Don't you wanna give me what I need, baby. Won't you picture life as my wife? Just think, look left, make fat X and all this. Listen to match, conversation was all black. Showed you the safe combinations and all that. Guess you can say you the one I trusted. Who would ever think that you would spread like mustard?
Okay. We're gonna do it live. Let's go.
Took me to court, tried to take all I nothing to get black. The bitch said I raped her. Damn, why she wanna stick me from my paper? My
I did it again. What's up, right? I know. I did it again. What's up, right? I know. I know what you're asking yourself. You gonna ever fall off? No.
lot of speculation on the monies I've made, honeys I've slayed. How is he for real? Is that nigga really paid? Hustlers I've met or dealt with direct. Is it true he stayed a beef and slept with
Let's get it,
the
go. Come on.
position you hold? Can you really match a triple platinum artist? Fuck my buck, but only a single going gold. Rockefeller should unfold, and you left out in the cold. Is it back and charge your motherfuckers 11 for a hole?
Yes, speedy recovery, Toby.
Questions like they get upset when I catch feelings. Can I get a minute to breathe? And then that
Angeline
minute you leave
Davis.
while I'm looking at my bro, ice spinning on my sleeve. Nice watch.
Yes,
Really
protect
have
the
a spot
equipment as
like
I'm
you said, a
going.
friend of foe, and if
But I'm a
so, what
professional. I get
what
it done.
you
Don't worry
doing in
about
LA with Filipinos and essays? Latinos
Just stay with me
and
today.
now I
Let's go,
pick
y'all.
up with Puerto Rico.
Angeline Davis. I'm only giving you. I'm not giving you a lot of music this morning. I'm gonna get you right to the point. You don't have all day. Miss.
It's Dahlia. Congratulations on
Woo!
It's Dahlia. Congratulations on your new show. I know how you get, so don't be too rough on him. Love you and good luck. Bye.
Love you too, monkey.
Welcome to the Raw Perspective with your host, the incomparable Uncle Lays, aka Lays Elliott. AKA
All right, Angeline
Lays, the
Davis.
world famous. Kicking it with you in topics about health, politics, music, art, culture, and now for your host, the legendary Uncle Lays.
Hey, yo. What's up, y'all? Got that coffee this morning.
Yo, get in there and tell the people what it is, man. Let them know what this thing is all about. Come on.
That's what we do.
Information.
The invitation to get up here this morning to do what we do. Wow. Let's turn my headphones. Turn down my headphones. We're a little loud with the headphone action. There you go. And turn the microphone down. Good morning, everybody. Unction in the building. This is morning emails. All you males and females this morning. Oh, yesterday we had such a powerful conversation. I felt that it's only right that we put a cap on it today and we put some perspective on it today because it was a hot button issue and everybody was angry about it. But before we do that, let's get into the morning conversation and let's get into it properly. You know, I wanna before I bring in my guest this morning, I wanna really. Oh, I see what's happened. So here's what's gonna happen. Yeah, okay. So let's get it going this morning. Pastor Cologne, I actually, if you have time this morning, and you'll see why I'm going to call. I'm going to smirk at me, Angeline Davis. Biggie Smalls. You and Biggie Smalls share this. You and Biggie Smalls, right. This is Biggie Smalls' birthday. Notorious B.I.D. birthday today. Very nice. Good morning, Pastor Cologne. So I want to bring let's go into the morning Black Factor before we get started. Let's get all the business out of the way. Toby Hicks, I need you to feel better, get better. And I'll try to get Toby, if you're within the sound of my voice, Toby, come in. And Corey, give me a call and we'll figure it out. By the way, fact today, May 21st, 1975, on blackfacts.com, Lowell Perry was confirmed as chairman of the Equal Opportunity Commission. Oh boy, another one of those situations. He was an American football player and coach, a government official, businessman, and broadcaster. I'm going to be nice this morning. Perry was the first African-American assistant coach in the National Football League, the first African-American to broadcast an NFL game with a national audience, and Chrysler's first African-American plant manager. How about that? There are some great things there. Perry attended the University of Michigan, where he studied history. He played at the end position for the Michigan Wolverines football team from 1950 to 1952. How about that? We love the college football, the Michigan Wolverines. In 1963, Perry began a 17-year career with Chrysler as he started as a professional specialist. Well, go ahead, sir. In April 1966, Lays was born. Also, Perry was hired as a color analyst for the CBS television and broadcast Steelers games alongside play-by-play man Joe Tucker. He was the first African-American to broadcast an NFL game to a national audience. Man, big news for that. I got to tell you. He returned to Chrysler, where he became a personal manager in 1970, 1973. He was appointed the plant manager at Chrysler's Eldon Avenue Axle Point plant in Detroit. He was the first African American to hold the plant manager position in the U.S. Automobile Company, at a U.S. Automobile Company. Wow. For more Black Facts, go to blackfacts.com. Wait, in 1975, Perry was appointed by President Gerald Ford to be commissioner of the U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. More Black Facts, go to blackfacts.com. Let history be no mystery, because if it's a mystery, it is bound to repeat itself. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, emails, all you males and females. Your boy Youngster in the building. Boy, I tell you, man. And also, shout out to my brother Gus Johnson, who is from Detroit. He's also one of the very few black play-by-play guys in the country. Gus is my brother. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go see him today out in... All right, listen, all the troll guys, we're going to cut you. See that right there? He did this right here gets you blocked, troll guy. If we're gonna block you, you're gone. Yeah, we don't play that. Don't come in here with that. Prayer speedy recovery for Toby Hicks. There you go. This is an adult conversation space, and most people that love hip hop come from our era. When you're from our era, you understand hip hop, and then you know who I am, and you know why I'm here. Now, for those people that come in on Facebook or any other the MOP pages or the Twitter or Twitch or Twitter pages, we want you here, but you're gonna have to follow the rules. All right, youngster, because normally the young ones don't follow the rules. You know, so we take care of those people. Yeah, speedy recovery for our brother Toby Hicks, one of the original Morning Yawnings. He had a procedure, and he had to deal with it, so we love Toby. And Toby, we want you to feel better. Okay, hair care. BBs, would you like to one day come on and do hair care? Informational. Let's get that done. Let's get it done. All right, so let's go to, I just want to go to media takeout real quick before I get this conversation started today. And get back to this conversation yesterday, because I do want to add perspective, and I brought a guest in. I'm going to try to get past this alone also. But then he makes a statement comment why he did Justin Bieber when what he did to, okay, but whatever. All right, listen, you guys know, not to pound and glom on with, obviously the news is left field, is out of control, all the stuff that's happening in the conversation with Diddy. But before we get that started, I want to thank my brother Anthony Anderson and everybody for yesterday's golf tournament. I thought it was an amazing tournament. I had a great time. I didn't win. I came in like third. Dave Justice and a baseball player, Dave Justice, was he won. Shout out to Michael Phelps. Shout out to all of the athletes, the entertainers, Cedric the Entertainer, Joe Torre, all of these amazing people that were there yesterday for a good cause. And shout out to Lexus Anthony. You see him on TV doing a commercial for diabetes. He's a guy that suffers from diabetes. And as a guy who, has been dodging diabetes for a long time, lost a sister, brothers on diabetic, and some of my best friends are suffering type 1 and type 2 diabetes. It was an amazing event at Bighorn in Palm Springs, and I got to tell y'all something. That was probably one of the best days I've had in a long time, one of the most beautiful places, and it was a great cause. They raised hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars, and it was a great event. So thank you, Anthony Anderson. I really appreciate you for showing love and really having a good time. Speaking of love, Ann had a good time because he met the Duchess yesterday, and he made the Duchess feel at home and really was extra friendly to the Duchess, and I love that. And he was like, really happy to see her and really treated her well. And so yesterday we talked about this Diddy conversation. And wait a minute, Coco Deems, could you come in? Are you here, Coco? We want you to come in for your birthday, Coco. If not, I'll call you on the phone. You had that issue with your thing yesterday. So let me just call Coco Deems before. Good morning, Kim. Oh, that's why. Okay, I didn't give you guys the link. My bad. Uncle Lays, you're doing too much this morning. Shut up, Lynn. I'm trying to get it going. It's 3 o'clock in the morning in California. You're starting to get acclimated to California time here. Yeah, good morning, Kimberly Robinson. shout out to Kimberly. Yesterday, she really put some of these conversations into perspective, and I had to really give it to her yesterday because I got to tell you something, Kimberly. Boy, man, you are so strong. And also, we saw a lot of massage by Kims yesterday. I just want to throw that at you. Yesterday, a lot of massages by Kim. But anyway, this morning, I'm going to add you to the stage. I want to bring my guest. I want to bring. Good morning. Look who just came in this morning. Good morning to the Duchess has entered the building. Yes. Good morning, Duchess. How are you this morning?
How are you, sweetheart?
All right, good morning. I know it's early, but yesterday, first of all, let me bring in Coco Jeans. Coco, happy birthday, Coco.
Thank you.
All right, there you go. And by the way, I listened back yesterday. You were not what do you say? What's the word? You said you were not echoing. They just heard you echoing. But you were not echoing online. Okay, I listened back.
Yeah, because I heard myself perfectly.
Yeah, it was good. So,
But I want to say,
yes.
I know I share a birthday with Biggie Smalls,
Yes, the notorious.
and I wanna send a quote.
Yes, of course, Coco.
The quote is, "I can be as good at the best of them, but as bad as the worst.
Yes.
Don't test me.
Yes.
You better move over."
Yes. We love that. So just I wanted to put a term. All right, there's still an echo. They saying Angeline Diva said there's an echo. She's echoing
I can't
again.
believe this.
I can't believe it. But if I have to call you on the phone, I'm going to call you on the phone. Just
Yes.
turn down your. Let's do a little sound check. Okay, we're going to mute Coco for 1 second. Let's go back to the Duchess. Excuse me, DeAndre Harmony. Everybody calls her the Duchess now. As a matter of fact, she's been known as the Duchess at the Anderson tournament too. They call her the Duchess over there too. It's amazing. I don't even know how does this news travel like this? I don't know what's going on. Good morning, TD, Grand Rising, Tanya Hazelhurst, and Reginald Maynard. Good morning. All right, so listen, my dear, why did you have a good time yesterday? By the way, before we get started.
I had an incredible time. It was just the most blissful day. So beautiful. Everybody was just in such great spirits. It felt so good to be there.
Thank you. I'm gonna call in Coco on the phone because I really want Coco on the phone. I really want to hang out on her birthday, and I don't want her to sound crazy on the phone. And I don't know why that happens. So we just got to figure that whole thing out. With the way that works. Let's turn the phone up. All right, Coco, can you hear me? Okay, we're gonna stay here then.
Yeah, we'll stay in this space right now.
We'll stay in this space.
I think I'm too low on the totem pole for the LA StreamYard.
Yeah.
For the Country Club StreamYard.
Yeah, it's
Oh
definitely.
my God.
Yeah, this country club Wi-Fi in LA is definitely the mountain Wi-Fi is not something that you sort of are set up for. You don't resonate and use the words of the Duchess. You don't resonate with the country club Wi-Fi.
So wait a minute, are you introducing us to the Duchess this morning?
Well,
for my birthday?
there's a reason for your birthday. I got a birthday present for you. The Duchess is on this morning, but also I'm going to change her name to the Duchess right now. How do I change that to the
How
Duchess?
beautiful is she? She is beautiful.
Yeah, the Duchess is beautiful.
She is beautiful.
I have no idea why she puts up with me. I don't even understand. Well, how the hell?
No, she is beautiful, and she has a great speaking voice.
Yes. She speaks well, as the white people say.
Good morning, Coco, and happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, beautiful.
All right. So yesterday we had a hot button issue. We had a good conversation, and but it really spiked a lot of. I mean, you guys were emotional, but we really went to the conversation about abuse, and I thought leaving it there yesterday about domestic and the violence and abuse, we kind of put a very simple cap on it. And I want to just really shout out all the women out there that are going through domestic violence and situations in their lives and have gone through it. And we are so busy, used to dealing with trauma, that we never really, we kind of almost bake it into our lives. And as a man, I don't have the authority to mansplain trauma to women as much as I try to speak from a men's perspective. And I was like, you know what? I'm not qualified to really cap this conversation from any perspective. So I need some help, you know. And I was like, babe, can you step in here and talk to the lady so I don't look like a complete asshole? I just wanted that. Yeah.
It's a little bit because it was triggering, you know, for a lot of people.
Yeah, it was a triggering conversation.
Yeah, it was triggering only because, you know, it's one thing to see it in a court document, you know, when she's describing it.
Right.
You actually see it with your eyes don't lie. It triggers an emotional response, and I think that's why they leaked that tape.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think they leaked it for that trigger. You know.
Well, of course, they want to titillate you. They need you to be, you know, they need you to be heard. Wait, Toby's here. Good morning, Toby. Thank you for your praise. I appreciate it very much. Hold on, let's grab Toby for a second. We got to take care of our morning yawners before we do anything else. He just came out. Just see if I can get him on real quick this morning. Stay right there, Coco Deems. I always slip up and call Coco Deems her name. Toby, good morning, Toby. How you feeling, brother?
I'm feeling. I didn't know you was on a call, bro. You got the Dutchess on, you got Coco on. Birthday, Coco.
Big day. Big day.
Thank you.
Well, Toby, the morning emails is a family. The morning emails is a family, and you're a part of our family, and we are concerned about you, and we want to make sure that you can talk to us, and we want you to have a speedy recovery. How you feeling this morning, brother?
Oh, I feel great now. What I felt Saturday morning.
4
o'clock in the morning. Oh my God.
Yes.
Toby.
Well, listen, Toby, we don't want you to stay on too long. We wanted just to hear your voice. And so now you go back to get some rest, listen to the show, chill out. I'm gonna try to keep us men's out of the Uncle Lays. You better keep the men's about. Before you go, Toby, I just want to say that if something would have happened to you, I don't know if I can take it. We already lost John and shit. All right, listen, Lindsay. What is wrong with you?
Toby is awful.
Right now.
Pray more so I can't be you, Toby.
I appreciate
I don't think it's appropriate for Lindsay to say a prayer, but I want to tell you something. I'm gonna have Uncle Lay pray for Toby. There you go. All right. We're gonna pray. We're gonna pray for Toby at some point.
Lindsay and Toby.
Pray.
Lindsay and Toby.
Yeah, I think Lindsay would lose his mind if something happened to Toby. Take care, Toby.
Nothing's
Yeah.
gonna happen to Toby.
Corpus Christi, Texas in the house. There you go, Joey. What up? How you doing, sir, Joey? Good to see you. Angelique, take care, Toby. Look, people love you, Toby. Toby, everybody's here. All right, so let Toby go. I'll talk to you later. Robin, Coco, I'm gonna hang up in the call. Yeah. So anyway, I keep calling you, Robin. So we're back. So the conversation. This new Rodecaster Duo is a pain in my ass. I need the old school one. Yeah, you're back. All right. So yesterday's conversation was very triggering, right? And turn your phone up, Robin, because you were coming in low yesterday as well. I didn't get a chance.
Okay, let me see.
Yeah, no, you're fine now. Yeah, you're fine now. So yesterday's triggering conversation, we talked, we were doing all Diddy yesterday, but we were also talking about domestic violence. And Kimberly, try to come in today if you can, and we'll make sure you don't have the echo that you had yesterday. But if you do, then we'll put you on the phone. Yesterday was triggering, and Kimberly was sharing with us a lot of her very triggering conversations. But it also made me look at it a little more holistically, and I felt that it was important that I get some help here. So I'm gonna try to call Pastor Cologne in it, but first I wanna bring in the Duchess, my better half. She's here today, and you know, in a way, she's got to legitimize me in this conversation because there are so many terrible things that women are going through, men too, and it's such a terrible situation that gets turned up by entertainment and all these other things. And even yesterday, more crazy, salacious things were coming out. Coco, I'll let you sort of elaborate on some of the more salacious things that were coming out, and then we'll move on. Yeah.
Yeah, so the issue is, I look at social media a lot, and I shouldn't, but I do. And a lot of speculation was going around. One of them was the fact that Cassie had Diddy's money in her purse, and he was coming to retrieve whatever she stole from him. And it was kind of like they were trying to justify why she received the treatment that she got from him. I'm not going to say, I know that we saw what we saw. And as horrible as it was, there were people really trying to justify why she was treated in such a manner.
Let me, I'm gonna stop. Yeah, I got you. And I'm gonna stop you right there. And I just want to say, this man is worth hundreds of millions of dollars, supposedly, allegedly. How much money she gonna have in there? What the hell?
Right. And knowing Diddy, she probably didn't have any money. Look at all the artists he's left behind.
All right, we're not okay. See, there you go. Now you're gonna go left. I don't want to go left. I want to talk about domestic violence, and I really want to reach out to women, the women that have
There's a whole bunch of different things.
Okay, go ahead.
There's a whole bunch of different things that come with this particular situation, and we're not looking at it in a full 360-degree perspective. Right?
Okay, all right.
I think that it's about control.
Okay.
It's about dominance. It's about someone having total control over another human being.
Yeah.
And how they use that control, right? And it was used in malfeasance. The malfeasance is prevalent here because of the money, because of the power. And I think the apology, honestly, to me, and I'm gonna be real with you, I think he practiced that apology at least 7 times before he actually put it out to the media.
Well, respectfully, he's a public figure, so he has to practice, what he's practicing. But let me go to the Duchess real quick. Babe, so as we start to have these conversations holistically about the ups and downs, and I know that we become a little bit. Good morning, Kimberly Robinson.
Good morning, family. Good morning.
Hey, let me know if Kimberly's echoing everybody.
Good morning, Kimberly.
Good
Coco.
morning. Happy birthday, Coco.
Yes.
Good morning, Miss Deandra.
Good morning.
Let me know.
Kimberly.
Let me know. By the way, yeah, we saw people doing massages on the golf course yesterday, Kimberly, and they were going in yesterday. And I was like, oh, she was here. She would have killed that. We could have said echoes. You're echoing. Okay, Kimberly, we're gonna put you on the phone. Sorry, babe.
Okay, cool.
All right. So anyway, Coco, we're gonna call you back. All right. Call you back, Coco. So now, babe, it's a hot button issue, and I want to wrap this issue up. It was way too big for just one day, one conversation. And because a lot of women are triggered, and I'm looking for your guidance and protection in this conversation, because I know that it's not easy for people to have this conversation.
Well, here's the truth. As we talked about it being triggering, the problem is when we don't have control over our own emotions, if we're easily triggered, we're easily manipulated.
Right.
And so in order to first have the conversation, we've got to be present to our own feelings and back up a little bit and put some space between what we're experiencing and what we feel about what we're experiencing.
Yes.
Obviously, watching any kind of horrible, act like that against another human is going to trigger within us emotions of empathy and compassion and how could you do this and all of that.
Right.
And those are justifiable emotions, but can we still be present enough to then have an adult conversation about it? Because the fact of the matter is there is no people group on this earth that is abused more than women and children every single day of the year. It's just we're talking about it now. So let's first recognize, hey, this is an opportunity to talk about it because this is happening all the time, every day around the world. So we kind of have to start there and back up before we want to, castrate this man and throw stones at him and all of this. And I'm not saying that what he did was wrong or right. I'm not even looking at the judgment of it first. I first want to at least open it up for us to talk about, hey, we've all been through some things, and some of us more than others.
Yeah.
As a survivor of an abusive relationship, I had a lot of time to consider what was going on in my life and why I was making the decisions that I was making.
Right.
Everybody makes decisions for different choices. And at the end of the day, whether or not we all can say nobody deserves to be treated that way. Can we at least talk about it before we want to just kick this man off the planet? Because where is he going to go?
Well, that's true. And I think from that perspective, I think that that's what April said. But also, before we castrate the guy, let's look at some of the things that sort of caused these problems. And because we have a whole generation, and look what's happening, his son is going up on charges. So that is a microcosm of our sons, and how do we get back to where we start to have this conversation holistically? And how do we get to the conversation to where we kind of try to end the process or this domestic violence, this immediate, attack on women and also attack on young men, because a lot of young men are going through it as well.
It's true. It crosses so many boundaries, and that's part of the problem, because the conversation is so big. And then when we put ourselves in the mix and say, well, we start making assumptions and start drawing conclusions and stacking things together, everything gets clouded, because now at that point, we're just projecting what we're feeling internally onto someone else. So we have to pause and be able to just look at it for a minute and say, all right, hold on. First of all, there's so many different things happening. When all of these different things are coming at you, why did they wait so long to release this? What was going on? How did she get there? Why did he do all of this? All of that stuff, if we can still ourselves for a moment and just say, okay, first, on the surface, at the end of the day, here's a woman who put herself in a position because she wanted something out of it, and that is a fact.
But let me ask you a question. Does she, and this is why the open dialogue makes sense, should she be penalized because what titillates us women, for women and young men, success is titillating. It is to be involved in something. Kimberly, you can even talk about it. You talked about how when you met KRS-One, you were so enamored by the star that he was.
Yes, totally. At that point, I was so much of I fanned out so much that he could have said, hey, come, I told you I quit my job. I quit my job. So at that point, he could have said, hey, come with me. I want you to do this. And knowing where I was at that time in my life, I probably would have done it. Just based off the fact that was KRS-One, and he was talking about Black Queen, you're a queen, not a hoe, and this just based off of that record alone, I would have been right there with him.
Right.
Anything that could have happened would have happened.
Right. April makes a very good point. Let me try to bring April in this morning, because April makes a very good point. April said she was only 16, so she's also very young. And then again, we start having these conversations about what is it in our world that is allowing. Good morning, April Leon. How are you feeling, sis?
The show that they had together. And
hold on, Kimberly. And we got April in this morning. I'm sorry, Kim. I don't know if you would talk.
Morning, sis. Good morning.
Good morning, Kim.
On that clip, the women, he was having a round table with the women, and I guess they were expressing their opinion. I don't know. I didn't see the entire thing. But he was so stern. He was so, it was almost like, well, no. At first, I looked at it as if, okay, he's the boss. This is what he needs to do to get the girls together to make money, blah, blah, blah. This is a business. And then all of a sudden, it just seemed a little more And maybe I'm looking at this differently because I've been in these situations.
Well, you're a survivor, right? So not only, yes, you're looking at it differently, but being a survivor, you have a more holistic look at it. You're not looking at it so much from a victim perspective. You're looking at it as a person that has survived all of this stuff, and then also you're taking accountability your role in this work, in this process. Not saying that any of this is your fault, but you're also taking responsibility for who you were in this conversation. And I commend you for that, Kimberly, because I think that is the first thing that we got to look at ourselves, and then look at how we can, not only if it's not for us, but how do we get to a position where we are no longer allowing the next generation, and this conversation is about the next generation, to be preyed on, as April points out, being preyed on in the situation. This young lady was only 16 or 17 years old. That is prime. This entire industry is geared for her. 16, 15, 16, 14, 15, 16-year-old female who doesn't have any bills, disposable income. That is the largest market in this country for the entertainment industry. Good morning, April Leon. How you feeling, sister?
Can I interject, please?
Yes.
I think, like, for us to really have a conversation about the reality of the kind of trauma that makes abusers and helps keep individuals, like women or men, in abusive situations. I think that we have to remove the conversation from it being a money thing, because to the point that was made weeks ago when we had this conversation, there's a woman right now, there's a child right now being abused or being raped in poverty, and women feeling disempowered or afraid to leave because of the mental strength, right? It's the fear of what might happen to you physically, but there's also a larger mental hold that the abuse puts a person in, where they are frozen and afraid or unable, or doesn't feel like they're worthy. They feel like it's their fault. That doesn't happen overnight. And if we're going to talk about the fact that this is something that happens every day all around this world, then let us not have the conversation of, well, she was there because she wanted to be rich or famous.
Well, so here's how it happens.
Because abuse is bigger than that.
Abuse is much bigger than that.
Money that keeps the person in an abusive relationship.
Okay, good.
No, it's called survival. So here's what happens. Here's what happens when you grow up in a dysfunctional family. You don't really know what love is. Love feels like war, and that's what you then start to perceive love as. And so the idea of worthiness doesn't even come up, because how can you possibly know you're worthy when the people who were charged to love you from the beginning treat you like trash and tell you, I love you? It's extremely confusing for a child. And so then as a young person, you then look towards those things that remind you of home. And where do you run for comfort and safety when at home there's a war? So it's a psychological discord that happens. And then on top of that, any time you try to think about leaving, when you're a child and you're trapped with these awful people who don't love you, but tell you they love you and treat you like crap, then you get to a point where that's better than being on your own. This is that reptilian brain that we were talking about. How we're wired to want to survive, and we believe we have to stay with a tribe in order to survive.
Good morning, Pastor Cologne. This is a very heavy conversation, and we have Pastor Cologne here. Good morning. And I felt, and I felt that when we start to have these conversations, we're starting to really, really jump into spaces that really affect our community and affect us all as a people. And I felt it was worthy for an extended conversation, and there were people's perspective that I needed to get in this conversation. And one of them was yours, Pastor Cologne, because this is a tough conversation, but it has a lot to do with what we're dealing with our community, and how do we go forward and stop this cycle of abuse and hold not only the men, the entertainers, the industry, but also ourselves accountable for protecting these young men and women in the world out there that are trying to just grow up and are being introduced to these things, Pastor. Good morning, Pastor.
Good morning, man. Good morning, ladies. Good morning, April. Shout out to all the She family. Good to see you guys. Now, Blaze, you knew that if you called me with this stuff, I was going to come from left field. You knew that, right?
Yeah, yes, I did. That's why I called you, Pastor.
You knew that, right? Okay. So, it's bell hooks in one sense. When I grew up, I've learned not to trust white people.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And so when we take our cue of what Black actuality is from white media, it has to be warped. It has to be profane. It has to be ridiculous. And so a lot of these people who we think are successful Black entrepreneurs are so because this is what white media likes for us to model. You're in the industry, ladies. No, I'm in the industry. I remember when Nas came out with this record, "You Can Be Anything You Want to Be," with a lot of kids singing, "You can be anything you want to be," and all this kind of stuff. The word in the industry was the record company fought him tooth and nail. They didn't want him to put that out.
That's absolutely true.
You remember that?
That's absolutely
And
true.
they didn't want him to put that out. But Spike Lee wants to do a movie called Malcolm X. He has to go and find funding himself to finish it. But John Singleton had all the funding he wanted to do Boys in the Hood. What our boys and girls believe about themselves are not generated from us. They're generated from people who hate them.
Wow.
That's issue one. Issue two, we have believed everything except the scriptures. We'll even believe the scriptures as white people say it.
Wow.
How in the ham sandwich are we supposed to understand what right and wrong is when nobody's modeling it for us? Or when it's modeled, it's never, if I'm preaching the truth in my church and people are getting help, no cameras are gonna show up. If I get one or two people in my church pregnant, all the cameras know where to find me.
Yes.
So what is celebrated is debauchery.
Yes.
What's put under the rug is truth.
And to your point, Pastor, as a guy that's in the entertainment business, I'm telling you, this is what the plan was. Nobody wanted, shut them down. It Takes a Nation of Millions, KRS One, Poor Righteous Teachers, the slew of positive artists that are out there today can't get arrested. That's the term we use in the music.
Absolutely correct.
Yeah.
And for those of us, when rap first came out, it was all about positive stuff.
Yeah.
You didn't see videos with us behind bars wearing orange jumpsuits and all this other kind of stuff.
As a matter of fact, hip hop was a way, for those that don't understand the origins of hip hop was a way to stop the gangs in New York from actually killing each other. They would just break dance and say, all right, we're going to break off and we're going to put our systems out there. So they're able to compete. It did for the gang life what soccer did for European warfare. You know what I'm saying? That's what it did, because it allowed the people to get together and release that energy, that competitive spirit, without just laying waste to bodies of dead of guys in the 70s, the Black Spades in my neighborhood, the Tomahawks and the Jolly Stompers, and all these different gangs that grew up in the neighborhood. It was a way to communicate and a way to empower the neighborhood. Even now in Chicago, with the Disciples and all the other gangs in Chicago, the origins of gangs was a way to empower our people. It's just that I think they were infiltrated in ways to where the community now only gets the negative aspect of it, the bodies in jail and all other stuff. But yeah, Pastor, you make a point. It is designed for us to abuse and hate each other and aspire to be the worst of ourselves.
Absolutely.
I'd also like to
calling our women
ask.
queens to calling our women hoes.
Well, and so to that point, that was exactly where I was going. The question I have is this:
Hold on, Pastor. Yeah.
Who do we imagine that these rappers are talking about when they're talking about all the bitches and hoes? When we see it personified, we're horrified. But when we don't see it, we're celebrating the music and singing right along. And this isn't a judgment. I'm right along with it. That's the culture of hip hop. So why are we so surprised? Why are we so shocked to see this? Because who do we imagine they're talking about?
That's a point. You're making a point. I mean, at the end of the day, we even as our people, we coalesce around some of the worst of our generation without condition, but we don't even allow them or speak to them or try to bring. Listen, I made a record about and put a record out about robbing people. Annie up, yap that fool, Annie up, kidnap that fool. And what I did was, in the record, because it was entertainment, I put it in context and called it Robin Hood's theory, meaning we are so poor that we can go out there and we're going to take what you guys have been taking from us for so many years. But I had to put the record in context, but you guys don't even know that that's the context of the record, because you just hear on major movies and all these other and commercials and all that stuff, you hear the Annie up, you hear that, but you don't hear what the context of the record was about. The record was about, we're down here, we're voiceless, so nobody is giving us, because the labels that own it, like Sony and all of the people, with respect to them, don't want you to know what the context of the record. They only want you to. I'm not a different person than I was 20 years ago when this record came out. The record was in context. I'm from Brownsville, Brooklyn, and we speak for those that don't have a voice, and we speak from a warrior stance, not from could you please, sir, can I please have some more stance. And so without context, you can always give the wrong message to the kids. And if the kids don't have the power of discernment as young children, then what ends up happening is, and they run with the wrong side of the conversation. Go ahead, Pastor.
Now, let me add another point to this. You know, one of the things we find in the Gospels, when Jesus went into the temple and saw all of the craziness that was going on in the temple, basically it was corruption going on in the temple. The Bible says that not only did he turn over the tables of the money changers, but he took a rope and he beat those who sold and who bought. So while we're criticizing people who are selling these records, we also need to criticize ourselves for buying stuff. There's something wrong when we support, there's going to be a lot of flower bringing and a lot of slow singing. And that is supported. Instead of, hey, you can be anything you want to be. We're not supporting UNITY anymore. We're not supporting these kinds of things that speak to the uplifting of our community. We're supporting, this Drake and Ken Lamar backlash of us fighting each other. And that's what gets corporate dollars. And I think we need to start whipping those who sold and those who bought again in our community. Because we need, if we're not about uplifting ourselves from a godly stance, we will continue to see puff daddies in our context.
Well, Pastor, the problem here is that what makes us successful in our community is not the dollars that are given, because there's not enough of us in this country, Black Americans or Black people in this country, to make the artists go platinum and double platinum. If you look at it, 300 million people in this country, and a platinum is 1 million sales, or whatever the platinum registers out to be 1 million sales. So there's not enough of us to do this. So we need the support comes from the larger community. I was saying to you, Pastor, the support comes from a larger community, and then that makes those guys, back to April's point, back on topic, that makes those guys feel empowered and implement, because it's all money. There's no black or white money. It's all the same money. So when you start to get rich off not just your community, but the larger community, then you feel, I've seen it happen. I've seen the humblest guy turn into a monster once he became rich and famous. I've seen it happen in front of my face. Friends of mine that turned, once they got empowered, they turned, and then everything under their umbrella, they thought belonged to them. Fame is a drug, and once people get addicted and hooked on fame, and then all of a sudden they change their entire life and they change their entire world, and then they become abusive and they feel the women around them belong to them, and then they're abusing their women, they're abusing their friends. They've changed their entire motif because of that monicum of success. Go ahead, Pastor.
Yeah, but if I can push back
Yes.
I get what you're saying. There is a broader support from white America too, but in our industry, we devalue the millions that Black people sell. We do that because there are enough of us to make ourselves platinum, multi-platinum, and all this other kind of stuff. But in our industry, Bonnie Raitt never sold what Whitney Houston sold. Never did.
Right.
But white people were supporting Bonnie Raitt, which made her popular. You see? So you can sell 7 and 10 and 20 million. Luther was selling, millions of records in the Black community. He didn't go pop until white people started buying their record.
Yeah, but the numbers were different. If you check SoundScan on the numbers,
His numbers may have been different.
Yes.
But he was definitely a platinum selling artist by Never Too Much.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So he was already very popular among Black folk. What happens is the industry devalues the millions we make among ourselves and tells you that's not popular yet. You become popular when we white people buy your record.
That's a very good point. That's a very big point.
And yeah, so what happens is it's not like these record companies are not making $20 and $30 million off of us. They didn't make $20, $30 million off of Bonnie Raitt. When her big record came out, she went gold. But they value her whiteness.
Mm.
They don't value Whitney's blackness. They don't value Luther's blackness. They don't value Biggie's blackness. They value, once you have white people following you, now you have arrived. Money might not even be the same.
So how does that, Pastor? So let's get back to what it means, because we're talking about how does that justify the abuse as it pertains to our young women. Yeah. Yeah, go ahead, Kimberly. Yeah.
I'm listening to what the pastor is talking about, and what that brings to mind with me is that, and I have to make this disclaimer before I go any further, because being in the mental health industry, as I am as well, being in the mental health industry also gave me a look at why the men become abusers. There are a lot of women abusers as well, but why the men become abusers. And as I listened to Pastor Cologne speak about how the industry, and you get these millions of dollars coming in, and all of a sudden you're taking a young man, as you say, Lays, from the hood that are warriors, not soldiers, not can I have more, please.
Right.
So what they did, coming into this community with all the money, not being taught how to financially handle money, not being taught how to handle yourself mentally when you have this money, coming from a place where you have no control to seemingly all the control because you have the money, that does something to a person's mind who hasn't been taught. So then they are out there trying to control everything because they believe they can do it with all the money that has been given to them.
One second. Kimberly, Pastor Cologne, thank you for your insight. Kimberly Robinson, I'm going to call you right back. I just want to address something real quick. I'll call you guys back. Okay. All right, listen, let me just say this. The reason why it's not that we're going off topic here, but we want to I wanted us to get into the mindset, because as these guys are the entertainers, a lot of our kids look up to the entertainers. So the successful entertainer's mindset is important in this conversation. It's important to think about what a guy like Diddy did. Now, even though April's in education, she understands the mindset of children, but what's influencing those children are the entertainers. They're not being influenced by the assemblymen or the congressmen or the corporate executives, black corporate that are in this country. They're being influenced. They're being influenced by people that are being influenced by people who don't look like us. And I think that is the biggest part of the conversation. They're not being influenced by the head of GM or the executive black commission on, and even the Divine Nine. By the way, just so that you know, the Divine Nine was popping over at this Anthony Anderson tournament yesterday. So I just want to let you. We'll stay out of that conversation. Yeah. But the point I'm making to you guys is that It is the abuse and all these other things are being justified by people, and the pastor made the point. The abuse is being justified by people who are not, who are not, they're not your friends. The people at the top of this entertainment business, they do not have the interest of the Latino community as their interest. Their interest is to make money. This is to the point of what has hip hop done for this. The point I'm saying to you is that hip hop's mandate wasn't to help them uplift the community, because once it was set to uplift the community, the corporate side of hip hop, the capitalist side of hip hop, shut it down. This was purposeful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, this is purposeful. Let me get April on. Good, April. Go ahead, Duchess.
Well, and this comes back to what I derived from one of the things that Pastor Cologne said was the personal responsibility part. In order to first take personal responsibility, we have to elevate our consciousness. And that's why I love this conversation, because if we can start from the perspective of, hey, they don't like us, they're not our friends, but let's not other them. Let's not make their issue and their conversation our problem. What if we could rise above that and have a different attitude about ourselves?
April Leon, April says we need a redo. Good morning, April.
I'm having a redo to this conversation.
Well, April, what we had to, and let me explain something to you, April. Getting to the point of the entertainment business, because the entertainment business is titillating to our young people. It is more interesting than school. It is more interesting than any of our black social issues, because quite honestly, we have the power to lift ourselves up out of our own situation if we put ourselves first. But what we tend to do is we tend to be more excited about the Drake Kendrick Lamar beef, or the Diddy conversation, or any conversation, or 50 Cent or Jay-Z. As much as I love all of these people and love their accomplishments, ain't nobody should be caring about these guys. They should be caring about the next corporate executive, the next person who's running a large corporation, who actually can help them and teach them. Like Byron Allen should be a bigger star than Jay-Z. He's a real billionaire, black billionaire. What's his name? Don Smith should be a bigger star. The guys from Earn Your Leisure, who are teaching you who are working to help to teach you how to work financial literacy. Those guys should be the biggest stars in our community, and the fact that they're not known by any of our kids as well as they're known by, like, you have to bring the hip hop element to get people to know who Earn Your Leisure is as far as in our community. So I think it's important for us to pay attention to the game that's being played, and how do we get out of that game, and how do we make it work? And that is the trail, the breadcrumbs to abuse. Because when you empower people who are not of the ilk of the success stories that we need to hear about, because it's really your lower self when you become a big rap mogul and all this stuff, you really tie it into your lower, not your higher vibration. It's your lower vibration, because that's the kind of salaciousness that we pay attention to, because they're vibrating on that frequency. Of course they're going to jump up and down. Of course they're going to do stuff bad to women. Of course they're going to be part of nonsense, because those are lower vibrations, and that is not what we aspire to be. Okay, April, go ahead.
And I agree with everything you're saying.
Right.
I thought at the beginning of the conversation today, we were getting into the larger conversation just in terms of abuse outside, because right now, as I'm sitting in Coney Island, there's a Puff Daddy with a zero total bank account, who has nothing, who is repeating the same actions, the same misogynistic, abusive behavior toward women, toward children. And yes, it happens in other ways, but historically, and across all of the cultural lines, across economic lines, there is an ugly mindset that has been perpetuated generationally and gets, grows with political stresses, with economic stressors, with all of these other stressors. But the truth of the matter is that historically, women have been at the bottom of a man's shoe because of a million reasons. So when we talk about liberating and freeing our minds and uplifting our souls and understanding worth, even when worth has not been taught to us, or when the first people that have harmed us are our mothers and our fathers, physically, emotionally, and mentally, how do we shift that where the trauma does not continue in these cycles of abuse? Because that is the conversation.
That
and
is,
it doesn't matter if you're Puff or you're the poorest guy on the planet Earth. It's a problem.
Well, yeah, but I think I'm gonna let you go in a second, Dustin, but let me just respond to April. I think we've popularized the bad boy abuse system, and it's being popularized by media. This is something that has been popularized. Listen, in the 70s, it was exploitation films. In the 60s, the frustrated black man was being popularized. You start to popularize this behavior, I smack, pimp smack, and all this other stuff, right? Behavior, and it becomes what is subculture today will become pop culture tomorrow, no matter what it is. So this is not, so in other words, with all due respect to what you're saying, April, that mindset doesn't happen just in a vacuum, and it's not just poverty. It is just the mindset of a popularized society. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the point.
Yeah, it goes across
But it's not just a
socioeconomic
couple,
lines.
it's bigger than that, because historically, I don't care what point of history you take us to, and I don't care what part of the world you take us to. This has been a historical problem.
Let me jump in real quick.
Culture, and that is the truth.
10 years ago, when I was in an abusive marriage, I knew something was wrong. I didn't know how to change my life. I felt like I was trapped. I started going to therapy, and I was in therapy for 2.5 years. At that point, my therapist said to me, "Dee, why do you love him?" And I immediately said, "Well, because he makes me feel like home. I feel like home when I'm with him." And she said, "Now you do realize at this point, home was terrifying for you. Home was not safe. Home was dysfunctional. Home was filled with war and rage. And is that what you want now and for the rest of your life?" And when she said that to me, I'm being completely transparent. I then got mad at her because I said, "You knew I didn't know this. Why did you wait 2.5 years and take $15,000 of my money to tell me this?" Like, I couldn't even wrap my mind around what she was actually saying, because I needed somebody to take accountability for the fact that I didn't know what I didn't know. And now that I knew that I was inviting this into my life, then that meant my whole life was going to unravel. And thankfully, I had been blessed with a wonderful career, and financially, I was able to untangle myself from that. But when I imagine what could have been true for me, I could have been in a position where I couldn't have gotten out of that. So how do you live with that? Especially when there are children involved. So as a woman, we do what we have to do to protect ourselves, protect our babies, even if that means we have to put ourselves at risk. And so for the human psyche, it's very difficult to have that conversation and come to that realization when you don't feel you can do anything about it. And so that's the hardest part, is first and foremost, let me release this need to be criticized and torn down and told I'm not good enough and told all these negative things about myself, because that's what I've known. And so now I'm repeating it. And now that I'm aware, now I get to say, well, I'm going to make a different choice. And so at that point, I remember synchronistically it started happening. I started just reaching out, trying to get help for myself, trying to find new habits and techniques to at least make myself feel safe. And what came up for me, one of the first things that I saw, and it stayed with me to this very moment, I have choices and I have options beyond mere survival.
Wow. Wow. April, who deals with this on a daily basis.
That is the conversation. Thank you so much. Beautiful.
Yeah, okay. All right. April Leon, thank you, sis. I love you. I will talk to you again. And yes, you're right. But we did bring the conversation back to this, but we had to lay the breadcrumbs with entertainment because that mindset is still in our young entertainers, and we have to find a way to break that mindset. April Leon, we love it. I love our sister April. Thank you very much. And also, we love the Duchess, and the Duchess is in the building this morning. And her real name is Deandra Harmony. That's her real name. You know, we're gonna add to that, and we'll let you know when that happens. But let's continue. Let's continue this conversation. But also, let us also, within the sound of my voice, recognize it, and recognize what we co-sign. Because we as adults co-signed a lot of bullshit, and we got to not co-sign that bullshit. We have to say to ourselves, you know what? He may be popular, he may be famous, but what does he stand for? What does this entertainer, what does this person stand for? What is his commitment to his community? How do we stand behind people that are making a lot of money off of both black, white, brown, whatever the community is? But if you're making them, what is your contribution? Hold them to account. And then when you hold them to account, that goes for all the athletes, because the athletes say, well, I'm not a teacher, I'm not an educator, but yes, we are. We are being blessed by society, so you have a responsibility. I give my responsibility on a daily basis. I give my responsibility to my OSG family, because at this age in our life, as Bob Smith said, a black billionaire, when you get to a certain point in your life, you have to become an educator and a teacher, and you have to be able to allow for people to learn from get your wisdom and put it out there. And I got to tell you, that's what the show is about. My beautiful Duchess, I love you, and I appreciate you coming in this morning and also sharing a little bit of your story. I mean, your story is so vast and so interesting. There's so much more to the Duchess than you guys even know, and one day we'll get into her story and also her journey, because it's still unraveling in front of me. You make me better as an individual, as a person, and you add to me. And as I told everybody, I hope that as I said the other day, I'm hoping that I can live up to this challenge to be your protector as well.
I love you.
Love you too. This one, ladies, to more perspective morning emails. Thank you, Kimberly, Pastor Cologne. Thank you. Happy birthday, Coco Deems. Get well, Toby. And thanks everyone for coming in this morning. Again, we've diagnosed the problem, but the conversation has to move forward to how do we fix it? And that's what the conversation is. I'm gonna leave that to y'all for the day. Y'all have a great day. And Reggae Wednesday will be tomorrow as we continue to travel. Duchess, we got to pack. We got to get ready to get up out of here, okay?
Let's go.
All right. I'll see you guys later. Have a great day.
Bye.